Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to speak about an important issue, which is upgrading the teaching material to meet the requirements of internationalization. This is my roadmap. I'll speak about the true requirements of internationalization, the necessity of upgrading the teaching material, and how we can upgrade the teaching material to meet the requirements of internationalization. I would like to begin with an anecdote. I was present at one of the international conferences held in Tunisia, and most of the audience were students. And one of the organizers was speaking to them by saying, British people are very polite, so be polite when you email them, as though Tunisian students are impolite. Is this internationalization? We will see. What does internationalization or international mean? If we adopt this meaning, universal, we'll certainly put all cultures in the same basket, and we'll try to fit all cultures in the same model, usually the Western one, which is impossible because every culture is unique. Therefore, ignoring cultural differences in the learning process may lead to falling in the trap of acculturation, Eurocentrism, or having a negative attitude to L2 and C2. And in extreme cases, this will lead to the marginalization of some students because they have different cultures. Now, the effects of adopting this meaning, universal, on the teaching material are the material is romanticized to be marketable everywhere, taboos are not tackled, language is made artificial to suit multiple contexts, lack of language and cultural authenticity, and loss of specificities of cultures. Now, in the upgrading process of the teaching material, what should we do? We should change our understanding of international first by substituting this widely used adjective, universal, by a rarely used one, which is inclusionary. What does inclusionary mean? It means linguistic and cultural variation in the teaching material by Hattus 2004. It also means that all cultures are equal and that there's no polite or impolite, good or evil culture. How should the teaching material deal with local students' culture or cultures? Now, if we adopt the inclusionary meaning of international, this is what we will have. Every student is going to bring his own touch, his own or her own culture. Therefore, local students' culture or cultures should be an asset, an enrichment, not a handicap to internationalization. Now, I like this iceberg concept very much because it shows how culture is multi-layered, how culture is deeper than the surface layer. The teaching material should teach the deeper side of culture and not the do's and don'ts because they will lead to stereotypes. And as you know, we all have different stereotypes about each other. For example, Russia is seen as vodka and girls, beautiful girls, and Africa as a black face, or Tunisia and Libya as camels, etc. Stereotypes would not only harm people of different cultural backgrounds, but also would harm their internationalization process. And of course, the teaching material should empower local students with global citizenry skills. One of these skills is the intercultural communicative competence. Now, as a conclusion, it's according to our understanding of international is that we adopt different requirements. So, this is a table in which I summarized everything I was speaking about. If we adopt the universal meaning of international, this is what we will have. We'll adopt the Western model, no cultural variation or specificity, acculturation of local students, Eurocentrism, ethnocentrism, marginalization, romanticizing the teaching material, no taboos, artificial language, etc., etc. But if we use the inclusionary meaning of international, we'll have cultural and linguistic variation in our teaching material. Cultures are equal, no polite or impolite culture, no cultural stereotypes. Local students' culture is an asset, not a handicap to internationalization, and therefore the teaching material will be used as a tool to develop global citizenry skills. Now, let us go back to the anecdote I used at the beginning. This professor who was speaking to the Tunisian students and said, British people are very polite, so be polite when you email them. And I asked you if this is internationalization. Now, I think she adopted the universal meaning of international. That's why she made all these mistakes. No cultural or linguistic variation. In her opinion, cultures are not equal. Um, she said that British people are polite, no cultural stereotypes. Here she adopts a big cultural stereotype, which is British culture is polite. And of course, here she did not use local students as an asset, but as a handicap to internationalization. And therefore, she did not develop her students' global citizenry skills. And I would like to thank you in my way by giving you this gift. It's Sidi Bou Said, one of the most beautiful cities in Tunisia. And I like this picture because it contains this Mediterranean that unites us. And thank you very much. Shukran jazilan in Arabic.